Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am talking all about the best of the best luxury beauty from the year of 2022. So if you want to see that video, just keep watching. Right, so I really tried to narrow this down to just the top #1 product from each category. Some I did have a few overlaps because I had to mention the other ones. And if you are new to my channel, the premise of my channel is talking about the best of the best luxury beauty products. So instead of having a ton of makeup, I really enjoy having a curated collection of holy grails of the best products, because I think that's really important, because you're typically just going to use the best of the best makeup products on an everyday basis, or even when you're going out. So that is what I wanted to focus on with the best beauty of 2022, is really pick curated products that I think are worth the money, that I think are worth investing in. And yeah, let's just get started. So I'm going to start with complexion products first. So when it comes to primers, I actually think primers are some of the most important steps in your makeup application, because if you find the right primer, it's going to blur your skin. It is going to add maybe some color correction. It is going to refine the look of texture on the skin, maybe mattify or glow, depending on what your needs are for your skin type. And if you can get that blurring effect that refines texture, that adds that slight color correction, hydrates or mattifies, again, depending on your needs, you're not going to require as much coverage over top of those products, which therefore will lead to a less makeup-y look. So you won't have to use as much foundation or concealer, which will result in a more natural look, which is going to look especially beautiful in person. Basically everything looks beautiful on camera, but in person is really where you want your skin to look natural. When I come in close contact with someone, I want my skin to still look like skin, because I don't want people to notice makeup on my skin. I think the best compliment is when people say your skin looks really beautiful versus I like your makeup. I would just rather my skin look more like skin. So for me, primers are important. The best kind of mattifying, smoothing primer that I found this year is the Paula's Choice Smoothing Primer Serum Broad Spectrum SPF 30. So this is really nice because it does have a little bit of an SPF 30. This is from Paula's Choice, so it's actually not a luxury brand, but this is something that my sister actually was using when I went to Las Vegas, and I tried it out because she was just saying how much she loved how blurred her skin looked. And so I tried it, and I was amazed with how flawless my skin looked. But again, it's flawless without adding coverage or pigmentation down on your skin. It completely smooths out your pores, so you just look like a poreless angel. It is beautiful. It's definitely silicone-y, so when you feel this, it does feel very silky smooth. So I use this first after I've applied my skincare. I wait about 20 minutes, and I'll go in with this just right here in the center of my face and like on my nose and chin. I did do a get ready with me so you could see these products in action, so that will be coming up next. But this it primes, protects, and perfects, exactly what it says on the label. It does really perfect the skin texture. And again, like I said, because the skin texture is refined and perfected, you won't require as much foundation because everything already looks really smooth and poreless. Beautiful if you're looking for a mattifying, smoothing primer. And then over top, I really like to use the Chantecaille Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint. So these are different primers, and I like having both of these because this is going to smooth and mattify, refine the texture of your skin. And this also has a blurring technology in it. So this does have a slight pink tint to it, but it also has a little bit of a glow to it. And when you apply it onto the skin, it does feel beautifully hydrating. It adds like this very, very subtle tint, but you're not going to see coverage on the skin or anything like that. But what it does is, again, it really blurs the look of your skin. It refines on the skin. I would just say this one's a little bit more refining, which is why I like to use it directly on the center of my face. But because this has a little bit more of a glow to it, I like to use this underneath the eyes. And because of that pink tint, it adds this really nice brightness to my under eyes. I also like to apply it a little bit on the cheekbones and like on the center of or up here on my forehead, just to add a little bit of glow. But again, it does add this blurring effect, this perfecting effect. And when I use this under my eyes, because of that brightness that it adds and that soft focus effect, I don't require as much concealer over top because I already have a little bit of brightness and a little bit of that filtered effect. Therefore, I don't require as much coverage. So it gives me a more natural result. This is just absolutely beautiful if you're looking for something to make your concealer go on smoother, to make you use less concealer, so you're going to get more out of your product by using less concealer, and just a beautiful natural result. I love this as a skincare makeup hybrid. Beautiful priming product that I highly recommend. Definitely, this is like a holy grail. This isn't even like the best of 2022. It's the best in my collection. This is a holy grail status primer. I love it. And for foundation, I have two winners. Actually, I have more than two winners. So I did do that best and worst foundation video. So I'm not going to talk too in depth about these foundations because I did in that video. I'll link that video down below. But two standouts of the year are the Peau, the foundation. This is in the shade 040 Light Tan Ochre. This is just the best of the best. This is beautiful. I love everything about it. It has really great coverage, not too much coverage. It still looks like skin on your skin. So it looks very natural. And when you're in person with someone, you are still going to see your skin texture shine through. So it doesn't look heavy. It doesn't look cakey. It lasts all day long. It's a perfect, like it's not too matte. It's not too glowy. It sits right in between. And it completely makes your skin look flawless and blurred and poreless, without adding a ton of coverage. Like I said, it still looks very skin-like on the skin, but there's this beautiful technology in here where it just perfects the skin, and it's gorgeous. Your skin looks absolutely flawless without looking like makeup on the skin. And my other number one choice for the best foundation of the year is the Dior Capture Totale Super Potent Serum Foundation. I would say very similar coverage level to the Peau, the foundation. I would say this is maybe a little bit more velvety on the skin, but I like to call this my Goldilocks foundation because it's not too matte, it's not too dewy, it's not too full coverage, it's not too light coverage. It sits right in between where it just looks so natural and beautiful on the skin. Like I said, more of that velvet finish. The longevity of this foundation is incredible. I can wear it all day long at work, but I could still go out after work and have no problems with the longevity. I never have to touch this up. It never oxidizes on me. It is beautiful. Again, it is very light texture. This is a skincare makeup hybrid as well. This looks like your skin. This does not look like makeup sitting on your skin. It does feel more like skincare. So it's very comfortable. It's a very lightweight foundation that absolutely blurs your skin. This is a filtered foundation if you want your skin to look poreless and blurred as well. It is incredible and I highly recommend it. And it's under $100, so I feel like that's really great for a skincare makeup hybrid. That's an absolute best foundation. It's a holy grail foundation as well. And again, I'll link my review on the best and worst foundations of 2022 so you can see my full thoughts on all the foundations. For concealer, I have two to mention. I tried to just mention one, but I can't. I can't narrow it down. I like to use them for different purposes. So I'm going to start off with the lighter coverage concealer, and this is the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Complexion Touch. I picked this up in the shade B30. Now, it's slightly too light for me when I use this all over the face, so this is actually a foundation or a concealer. You can use it as kind of either or, which is really nice as well because I took this traveling because, again, it's so easy. This is just my foundation and concealer in one. And usually you cannot use products like a foundation and concealer as one product. It typically just does not look great when you use your foundation as a concealer. But this is stunning. This is exactly like the Chanel Water Fresh, what is it called? Water Fresh Tint. Basically the same product, except this Complexion Touch has more coverage. So it's really beautiful if you want more of a light to, probably buildable to medium coverage, but it still looks like skin. This is, especially the tint, is the most, I would say, it's like a very skin perfecting foundation in that it perfects the look of your skin without it looking like foundation at all. You literally cannot detect makeup on your skin, which is why I love this product. And it has this beautiful dry down. You actually don't require to set this one down with powder. It kind of sets itself. It has these pigment beads that just disperse on the skin. But I really love this under the eyes. Now, if you are to use this as concealer, you need to use it before you go in with your foundation because of the technology in this product, it does have the tendency to pill if you apply it over top of your foundation. It will actually kind of remove any coverage that you've like gone in with your foundation. It will kind of just take that away. It will pill a little bit. So if you are using this as your concealer, you've got to use this first and then go in with your foundation over top. But it's a very beautiful concealer under the eyes because, again, it is so skin-like and just melts into the skin. You cannot detect that makeup anywhere on your under eyes, which is very unique because I feel like when you are applying makeup to your under eye, it is probably the most noticeable in person because your skin texture is just so thin on your under eyes. So if you apply makeup there, it's just going to be the most noticeable. But this really, you can get away with it looking like no makeup. And again, it is more of a light to medium coverage, so it's not going to completely conceal darkness, but it's a really great everyday concealer. And then also the Chanel Sublimage Le Corrector U. I picked this up in the shade 20. It's a little bit too brightening for me, so when I go through this, I will pick up the shade 30. And this is something that I will repurchase. Now this one's a little bit more expensive than this Chanel, but it also offers more coverage. So if I want a more perfected look, if I just want my under eyes to look absolutely smooth and perfected and flawless, this is the concealer that I will use. It kind of acts as a corrector and concealer in one because it does offer more coverage and it does have a little bit of a peachiness to it. Very, very beautiful formula. It just feels very serum-y on the under eyes, so it actually feels very comfortable when you apply it. It sits on the under eyes very beautifully. It doesn't settle into any lines or creases. My mom is in her 60s and I actually got her to purchase this as well, and it looks beautiful on her. It does not settle into lines or creases. Very reminiscent to the Sisley concealer, but I have been reaching for this one more. I'm not sure if it's just because it's new. I might do a luxury beauty battle kind of similar to the one I did before and maybe talk about some comparisons on similar products if you want to see that. But I just have been really enjoying this. It is a gorgeous concealer, and even though it does offer more coverage, it doesn't look makeup-y or heavy or cakey on the under eyes. Beautiful. Even though it's pricey, for me, it is worth the splurge because your under eye area is such a delicate area, so you want to be really careful with the types of products you are using under there. And this is just a standout product. It is lovely. Moving on to the bronzers, I have a few different ones to mention. So the first is a liquid cream hybrid. This is the Chantecaille, it's the Chantecaille Anti-Aging Face Tint in the shade Sheer Bronze. Hopefully they will release this in different shades. I have heard a lot of people mention that, so hopefully they take that into consideration. But this is the perfect bronzer for me, and it is just a sheer bronzer. It is a sheer tint. So you can use this in a multitude of different ways. It is multi-purpose. You can use this as a priming product, actually, and apply it all over the skin. What it does is it blurs the skin. It adds a soft focus effect. It really diffuses any lines or texture on the skin. Therefore, you won't require, again, as much foundation like I've previously talked about with the primers. And it's just beautiful. So you could add just a little bit of concealer over top and use that as your everyday product because it does have this sheer tint to it where it just adds like a very, very, very subtle amount of coverage. It is barely noticeable though. It is next to nothing. So this is a great no makeup product. I use this a lot as like my foundation in the summertime. Beautiful. But I also love it as a cream bronzer as well. So today I just applied it around the perimeter of my skin. But what it does as a bronzer is it is so sheer on the skin that it is barely detectable. With a lot of cream bronzers, they are finicky, they can look heavy, they can look textured on the skin if you don't know how to apply them properly. So if you're a beginner or just not used to applying cream products, I actually don't recommend them because they can actually have the reverse effect and look patchy or heavy or not blended on the skin, which makes them look worse. But this is so blendable. It basically blends itself. It's a beautiful formula to work with because it basically requires no effort and it looks very seamless on the skin. You won't be able to detect bronzer on your skin. You just get that dimension on your skin that you want from a bronzing product. And again, my favorite thing about it is this soft focus filtered effect that it has. So typically on like the exterior of my skin, I'm not really focusing on that filtered kind of blurred effect. I really focus it on these areas, like I said, with those priming products. But this adds that same effect, but I get that on the perimeter of the skin because this does blur and add that soft focus effect as a bronzing product, which I just think is very unique for a cream bronzer. And for a powder bronzer, this is just a standout bronzer from the year. This is the Guerlain Terracotta Light Sun-Kissed Healthy Glow Powder in the shade 03 Medium. So this is offered in a variety of different tones and colors. So if you're darker than I am, you can get it in a deeper tone. If you're cooler than I am, they offer this in a medium cool tone or a light cool, etc., etc. I love how they offer this in different tones so that a variety of skin tones can use this product because it is an absolutely beautiful formula. I love that there are different tones in this bronzer. And this bronzer is called the Healthy Glow Bronzer, and that is exactly what it gives you. It gives you this healthy glow. It gives you this youthful effect because it has this beautiful brightness about it. And I think it's because there's a little bit of these peachy tones laid throughout this bronzer that just gives your skin life back. If you're someone that has like sallow skin, or maybe your skin is just a little lifeless, especially in the fall and winter time, this bronzer is the answer to your prayers because it is just such a lovely, youthful bronzer that has just been a favorite of mine. And it's different because a lot of bronzers just come in that one shade and they're maybe more matte or they're like a purely shimmery bronzer, but this has a slight glow to it without there being detectable shimmer. So you can't detect shimmer sitting on your skin. It's just such a beautiful formula, a beautiful bronzer. It is something that I've used throughout the year and that I highly recommend. If you're going to pick up a Guerlain bronzer, let it be this one because it is beautiful. For blush, the standout blush from 2022 that was released this year is the Gucci Cheeks and Eye Powder Luminous Matte Blusher in the shade 04 Bright Coral. Now, they offer these in different tones, obviously. This is just the one I picked up. I also just picked up Rosy Beige, but it has not yet been shipped to me. So I can't wait to try that out as well because it's just a standout formula. This formula is so beautiful because I feel like the name Luminous Matte actually suits it perfectly. Usually I hate when they have those contrasting words because it doesn't really make sense. But I would say this is more a matte blush, but the formula of this is so creamy that's why it's luminous, because when you apply it onto the skin, there is this creamy quality to it where it just diffuses into the skin, blends into the skin with ease. It never looks too pigmented. You never get clown cheeks. Like I said, it is just a breeze and it's so easy to blend out onto the skin. No shimmer particles because, again, I don't like that on the skin. I feel like it emphasizes texture. This is just such a flattering formula where, again, it has kind of that blurring technology where when you apply it, everything looks smooth and seamless, and it's just a gorgeous formula. If you haven't tried out these Gucci blushes, you got to because they are beautiful. Now for highlighters, there were so many good highlighters this year, and I'm not really a highlighter person. I definitely need to buy zero highlighters next year, but if I may just shout out the new Peau Luminizing Face Enhancer, the shade 2020, no, it's called 22, and it's Shooting Stars. It's a beautiful bronzy tone. It looks like it might be too deep on the skin, but it really does just blend into the skin, and it gives you a soft glow, very reminiscent of the old formula. If you pick up any of the double digits in this Peau Luminizing Face Enhancer, it will be very similar to the previous formula, but this is just a shade that kind of blends into my skin, perfect in the summertime, and it's a really natural looking highlighter. It doesn't make your skin look wet or dewy. It just gives you a really subtle glow that is super natural without detectable shimmer particles, which I like. Now, if you're looking for a really intense highlighter, I really liked this Chantecaille Sunbeam Cheek and Eye shade in the shade Ray. This is beautiful on the eyes as well, so I really like these multitasking products because this is what I took to Vegas with me when I went traveling because, again, it's just so easy. I could use it on my cheeks and eyes. Beautiful, beautiful blush. So this is a big gelée, but it is very intense. It is quite pigmented, but there are no glitter particles in this, so you don't get that detectable glitter particle. Like, I just don't like that when you can see shimmer particles on the skin. It does meld into the skin because it's a big gelée. It kind of has that effect where it looks very creamy on the skin, like you've applied a liquid highlighter. But it is more intense because it has more pigment compared to the Peau highlighter that I mentioned. And this will actually make your cheeks look wet and glossy. So if you like that really high shine highlighter look, this is beautiful. And this is really beautiful on the eyes as well because, again, it really offers that glossy look. It's kind of like that supermodel glow look that I love just as a one and done. But if I had to mention a number one, I think it would have to be the Chantecaille Lotus Radiance highlighter that was released in the holiday collection. I think this is stunning. Again, this really reminds me of the Peau Luminizing Face Enhancers, their previous version before they got reformulated. There's just something so brightening and skin enhancing about this powder. It is quite a powdery powder, but when you get it onto the skin, it blends right in. No detectable shimmer particles, like I've mentioned 1,000 times and repeated myself over and over. But I really like this because it adds this brightness. It is such a subtle highlighter. If you don't like highlighters, you will love this because it enhances the skin. It makes your skin look even better without you being like, wow, nice highlighter sitting on your skin. This is just absolutely gorgeous for that brightening, ethereal highlighter that just makes your complexion look even better. I love this. I'm considering doing like a top 5 best of the best releases of 2022. If you want to see that video, let me know, where I just mentioned like the 5 products that I think you must get from 2022, just so it's not overwhelming like maybe this video is. Let me know. But this is one of my standout products from the year. This is the Chantecaille Lotus Perfect Blur Glow Powder. It only comes in 1 shade. I really hope Chantecaille makes this permanent, but if they don't, I already bought a backup of this because I am scared to be without it. That's a little dramatic, but I don't want to be without it because this powder is so good. It is a blurring powder that has a bit of glow to it, which is so unique because most of the time when you associate a glowy powder, it has a tendency to emphasize texture. It's something that, like with a highlighter, if you have any texture going on, you're not going to want to apply that onto your skin. But this has the capability where it has a glow, but it blurs and refines the skin. It is so unique and so beautiful when you actually see it on the skin, because even though it's a powder, it doesn't look like a powder on the skin. You cannot detect powder sitting on the skin. It just gives you this blurred, soft focused look that you have heard me go on and on and on about. Absolutely beautiful. The texture of this is really nice. It's incredibly finely milled. You can also use this as a straight up highlighter, although it will be incredibly, incredibly subtle. So if you're someone that does not enjoy highlighter, if you're someone with mature skin with fine lines, get this as your powder highlighter because it will be game changing because it blurs at the same time that it adds a little bit of a glow. I like to use this as a finishing powder. Again, you will see this in the Get Ready With Me where I show you how I use this product, but I use it with the Sonia G buffing brush, lightly buff it into the skin, especially in the exterior. Now, even though this has a little bit of a glow and it does offer that blurring effect, I still would not apply it in the very center of my face. I would go in with different powders for that purpose, but really, really recommend this product. It is so, so good. And then in terms of powder, I didn't try a new powder this year, like a really great mattifying primer that came out in 2022 for that blurring effect. I did do a whole video on my favorite blurring powders. I will link it down below so I won't go too into depth. But I did try this out this year. It wasn't released this year though. This is the Peau Refining Press Powder. This is the powder that I will use in the center of my face once I have blended this powder all over the skin, especially on the exterior as a finishing powder. This I will go in and just perfect the very center of my face right here to add that blurred and filtered effect just right in the center of the skin, or I'll use the Chantecaille Perfect Blur Finishing Powder. This just offers a little bit more coverage and a little bit more of a mattifying effect. It does kind of take away any of that discoloration if you are struggling with that. It offers just a little bit of coverage. Both beautiful mattifying powders for that blurred effect. Let's move to the eyes. Lots of great eye products. Again, I tried to be really nitpicky with this and just pick the best of the best. The best one and done eyeshadow of the year is the Sisley Ombre Eclat Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade 2 Copper. I absolutely love this, and even though it's called copper, it's not a copper. It's almost like a bronzy taupe shade. It's very nice and neutral. It just offers a beautiful sheen, and it is such a beautiful liquid eyeshadow because most of the time you think of liquid eyeshadows as finicky. They can be chunky, they can be hard to blend, hard to apply. There's a little swatch of it there. That's very subtle, but on the eyes, it offers just the most beautiful sheen. It is not over the top. There are no detectable shimmer particles. It's a very sophisticated, elegant shimmer on the eyes that is incredibly easy to blend. Once you blend it out, it is very long lasting as well. It's not going to crease on the eyes. It's not going to settle into any lines. You can use this as a base and layer powder eyeshadows over top. It's just so good because it's so easy to blend. There are no issues with this, which happens with a lot of cream or liquid eyeshadows. There just can be issues. And this is just beautiful because it offers the most gorgeous sheen, kind of that supermodel glow that I have talked about loving. It's so elegant on the eyes. It's not over the top. You can wear this in the daytime. You can wear this in the evening time. It's just beautifully neutral and perfect. Everything that I wanted in a liquid or cream eyeshadow, and this has done it. If you're looking for a cream eyeshadow, this is the best one. It's a must. So after this video, I am going to do my absolute best luxury makeup of all time outside of everything that I tried in 2022. So if you don't hear me mention something that I've said is a holy grail before, it might just be because it didn't get released in 2022, but that video will be coming up as well. Now I want to talk about eyeshadow palettes. There were so many good ones this year. My absolute #1 favorite was the Chanel. This is 747 Mediterranean. This was their eyeshadow palette that they released in the summertime. This is not available, so I don't want to go on about it. But I also picked up a backup of this. I have Hit Pan in one of the shades. That is how much I love this. I took this traveling with me. Just the best eyeshadow palette because they're just the most sophisticated, beautiful shimmers. That Big Gelée formula, you can use them wet or dry. Please, Chanel, release this formula again. Actually, just release this palette in permanent because this is the #1 palette in my entire collection, and sadly, you can't get it anymore. But there are some permanent eyeshadow palettes I tried that are really nice. This one is definitely my favorite of the year. This is the Tom Ford Eye Color Quad Creme in the shade number 36 Tiger Eye. I did try out all 3 of the palettes that Tom Ford released. This one is the best though, especially for everyday use. These are very neutral shades, and the shimmers in here are that beautiful, sophisticated, elegant shimmer. No chunky glitters. You can't feel any grittiness. They're just very smooth and buttery, and they offer just a really nice, elegant shimmer to your eyes. I think this color story is beautiful because, again, it's neutral, but it's not, it leans warm, but it's not too warm. It's not orangey. It's very flattering. I also got my mom to pick this one up, and she loves it as well on her, again, she's in her 60s, and she loves it on her eyes as well. I feel like it is just such a great formula because it is easy to blend, it is easy to build, just very, very sophisticated on the eyes. You could wear it for any occasion, and it's just always appropriate. And just the quality of this is just outstanding. And it's a unique formula because it is a cream to powder formula. It's almost just like, I wouldn't say they feel creamy, it just feels like a creamier version of a powder eyeshadow. But I'm just so happy with this, and I think Tom Ford did an amazing job with this. This is something I have used throughout the year. And I also really love, this is still available in the US currently. This is the Chanel Ombre Tweed Eyeshadow Quad in the shade Tweed Couvre. Really enjoy this, especially for the evening times. I tend to reserve this for evening looks because these are more deep and rich in tone. They are definitely more pigmented than the Tom Ford Eye Color Quad Creme. This is more of a lighter pigment. This, you can get a lot more pigmentation when you dip into it. So because of that, I like to reserve it more for the evening time because they're just richer colors as well. They're very warm, kind of antique shades, which are really beautiful, more so in the evening for me. So that's just where I tend to reserve it. The one shade I don't like is this shade here because it is that kind of chunkier glitter where you can see the glitter flecks, and I just don't like glitter. It's just not my thing. But if you like glitter, you might like that, but it's just minus that shade. I love all these shades. They're gorgeous, buttery, easy to blend. This formula is really beautiful. I love it. I love Chanel's releases. And then for eyeliners, you got to get these Hourglass Voyeur waterproof gel eyeliners. I typically reserve these only for tight lining though because they do set down, they are waterproof, they are budge proof, smudge proof. So I like to place them right in the tight line, or you could use them in their waterline. I would not recommend these for smudging out because they're not a kohl liner, so they're not going to smudge out well. They're just going to set right away. So if you're looking for something for your tight line, get these. I love to use the brown on an everyday basis. It's called Cave. And then the shade Obsidian I like to use for more evenings because it is a black shade, so it's just a little bit more intense. Mascara, the Gucci L'Obscure mascara in the shade Black. Again, I hope they release this in brown at some point, but it's the best for lengthening, volumizing, doesn't flake, doesn't smudge, doesn't get everywhere. This has remained very consistent since I first opened it. The best mascara on the market, and it's not obscenely priced. Like, Some mascaras are just really expensive in the luxury beauty world that it seems kind of silly to spend that much money when you have to repurchase a mascara every 6 months. This is fantastic. Get it, you will love it. I have nothing bad to say about it. And for lips, I only have 2 to mention because I am very picky with lip products, but this is the Merit Signature Lightweight Lipstick in the shade Baby. I've talked about this endlessly on my channel this year. Look how much I have used. I literally have this little nubbin left, and I already have a backup of this, but this is just the best lipstick because it goes on so sheer. It is lightweight. Like, you do not feel like you have a lipstick on. It offers this beautiful sheen, but it's not too glossy where it feels gloopy or it's going to get everywhere all over your face. I love the texture, the consistency, how this looks on the lips. Yes, you will need to touch up because it is more of that sheer coverage, lightweight lipstick. But I don't mind. I carry this in my handbag as well. Just so gorgeous. I absolutely love this. Now, I was sent this, but I did repurchase the backup using my own money. And then I also have loved this Sisley. This is the Phyto Rouge Shine lipsticks. I picked up Sheer Petal, and Sheer Nude. I definitely like Sheer Nude the best. This is just such a great touch-up lipstick, lightweight lipstick. Again, that's more of a hybrid between a lipstick, lip gloss formula. I love those hybrid products. This just, it also feels really lightweight on the lips. This is definitely sheer coverage than the Merit lipstick. It's going to be less long-lasting than the Merit lipstick because it is even more of like that glossy hybrid formula. But it's so beautiful. It adds this interesting kind of diffused look to your lips. And it also adds this like blurred effect to your lips. It reminds me of the Chanel Rouge Coco lipsticks, where it offers this kind of blurred effect. It's very a unique formula, but I really love everything about this. I love that it is a shine lipstick and it goes on very sheer. I love something that just enhances your lips, makes your lips look even better without it being like, whoa, that's a lipstick on your lips, because I definitely like my lips to be the most lived in, kind of natural. I tend to apply a lip product and then I'll kind of blend everything in. And this just helps me get that really diffused look without really putting in much effort. I almost don't have to blend it into my lips like I usually normally like to. But it's just a really natural looking lipstick that really, again, enhances your natural beauty versus it being like an intense makeup product where you can notice that you have detectable lipstick on. But that is it for my best makeup products of the year 2022. I just want to thank you all for your support on my channel this year. Thank you so much if you have used my affiliate links. That really makes my day and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much if you've ever used my affiliate links. It does truly help me out, and I am a smaller channel, so I do really, really appreciate it when you do that. That is it for my yearly best of the best luxury makeup of 2022. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know like your top 3 favorites from the year down below. I'd love to hear from you. There's definitely so many great releases, but I really wanted to narrow it down, have my curated picks from 2022. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.